Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Okay, so what do we have for you on today's episode? We have for you something from my home country, ladies and gentlemen. But it is quite serious. Now, if for my American viewers, you probably haven't heard of a woman called Sarah Everard, who was, unfortunately, she had her life taken. But not only that, she had her life taken by a serving British police officer who has been arrested and charged and so on and so on. Now, there was a vigil held for Sarah Everard in the area of London that she went missing, around Clapham, in that area. And the peaceful, largely peaceful, don't we love that phrase? But I think in this case they were legitimately largely peaceful. Vigil attendees were harassed, harangued by the police. They were broken up and dispersed. This is important because, believe it or not, Britain is actually coming out of this lockdown measures. We're meant to be anyway, ostensibly coming out of lockdown measures. So why people cannot spend a couple of hours at a vigil, I don't know. And why the police feel it is reasonable to come in and violently jerk these people away, again, you're going to have to educate me on that, because I don't understand the need for this. Why certain organisations, BLM, Antifa and the like, are given free rein to do what they like, where they like. Ordinary people who turn up at a vigil are harangued and cajoled by the police. Which is all the more shocking because the victim of the crime that they are standing vigil for was murdered by a serving policeman. So let's get into this clip. But if you haven't yet, or this video, because there's a few clips to watch, but if you haven't yet, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell and share this video around. That's needed now more than ever. We are sectioned off like pretty much all commentary channels. The only problem is we are small and don't have the clout to grow, so I need your help to grow. Let's go. Okay, so here is the first clip. These are people who are masked and socially distancing at the vigil, and then this is when the police first arrive. Now, let's go back and watch this again and remember that this is a woman. I don't know exactly what it was she did to get her singled out, but she wasn't armed or anything like that. Now, remember, this is a vigil for a woman who was murdered by serving police officers. So look at this clip again through the lens of the optics of two serving police officers restraining a woman at a vigil that was held for a woman who was ended by serving police officers. That's bad. That's beyond bad optics, really. Okay, beyond bad optics. And if you're worried about contagion and, you know, the spread of the coronavirus, why would you even allow yourself to get so close to this person? If lockdown is really ending in Britain, why would you do that? And why single out one person? Is it to make an example of them? So it's a targeted arrest. I mean, it shocks me quite, to be honest, because... Well, it doesn't shock me, it saddens me, because you have to remember, it's a vigil for a woman who was ended by a serving police officer. And then you have 2 serving police officers obviously restraining this woman. Surely you could be a bit more tactful. I'll tell you what policing has become in Britain, right? It's become they now arrest whoever's just easiest to arrest, not who's actually done something wrong. Like when you see, I did a video on it, that elderly, well not elderly, but she was in her 60s. A woman who was in her 60s who has owned her small little shop. She's a small business owner. A small little shop for decades. She's in her 60s. She had 4 police officers turn up there to try and get her to lock the doors, but she was almost out of her savings. Her business was going to collapse. She was going to lose her mortgage and so on and so on. And so she opened her business. She said to hell with it, right? So the police arrived before the kettle had finished boiling, as soon as she opened that door. Yet, usual suspects, the people who chant things like pigs in blankets, fry 'em like bacon, the people who chant whose streets are streets, those types of people are allowed to do what they like, to who they like, when they like, without... And the police just stand there. You've seen them. They stand there like lemmings. They stand there with their riot shields up, and the usual suspects are throwing stuff at them. They smash windows, they burn property, they assault people in the streets, and nothing is ever done. To arrest those people would be difficult, okay? But to harangue the elderly shop owner and to arrest this woman, right, unarmed woman, at night, doing nothing, that's easy. So they do the easy. Okay, the next clip is just strange, right? This is at the heart of the Vigil, and it is just a tidal wave of emotion mixed in with postmodernist policing, and it's just ridiculous, right? Look, you're going to have to take a look and make your own mind up. And to think I was once a supporter of the police. I still respect law and order. I have more respect for American police than I do for British, but my respect for both has been diminishing fast. This is what happens when you turn on the people who support you. As you can see, there was a line of like 4 or 5 women at the vigil. You can see the placards and the flowers and the tributes all down here. So there's 5 women and there is an army of police officers behind them, and then they drag them away because apparently those 4 or 5 women who are masked and the rest of it are a threat to other people because they might spread the Rona bug. Yet these 7,000 police officers behind them all bunched up. Well, that's perfectly okay, right? It's just this postmodern world is just turning me loopy. Really, I'll have to end up in a mental institute because I just can't deal with all of this. Really, it just doesn't make sense, right? And the optics. Are these police officers trying to get the public to turn against them? Because wait, if you look at it, you would not be thought silly for thinking such a thing. You know, sometimes if something looks obvious, usually it is. I'm not saying they are going out of their way to do that. What I am saying is, it is certainly a position to take when you watch things like this. And invariably, if you went there and asked them, why are you doing this? You know what their answer would be, don't you? I think you do know. I'm just following orders. And how many times have we said that that wasn't allowed at the Nuremberg trials when the camp guards were put on trial? And I'm not saying anyone should be put on trial, but I'm just doing my job isn't viable excuse. So are you saying that your job trumps your morals? Are you saying that your job trumps what is right and wrong? Think about it. Watch again. That is a vigil for a murdered woman. And look at the way it's being treated. So we will end with this. People are running in confusion. The police are chasing them, grabbing them down. Almost all of the people arrested that I've seen have been women. This was, again, I will mention it, at a vigil. People were just standing at a vigil for a young woman who was murdered by a serving police officer. These women here are being chased by serving police officers. They are being roughed up, manhandled, and then arrested. The optics are as bad as optics can get. Oh, God. And I'm just following orders, So we'll watch this one. It's not too long clip, but we'll watch this, and then I will say my goodbyes, and we will wrap things up. So take a look at this. The reaction to all of, look, there's women there in the back. These are ordinary people. These are people who work in hospitals. These are people who work in retail. These are people that work as hairdressers. These are people who work in ordinary jobs who are starting to get a taste of the culture war. Okay. And again, you don't see this type of thing. I remember watching them, the ones in their yellow fluorescent uniforms, taking a knee, bending the knee, literally and figuratively, to Black Lives Matter. Okay. To Antifa. Yeah, when you are just a hairdresser, when you are a retail worker, when you work in cafes and so on, when you actually abide by the law and you attend a vigil, you get this, right? Now, I suppose, look, if we're going to try and play both sides, right? Or at least listen to both sides. I don't play both sides. Let's listen to the other side. You'll have the police saying invariably their number one excuse will be, I am just following orders, right? The number two excuse would be, or possibly excuse from their higher ups would be, well, you know, it's COVID and we're beating you about the head and roughing you up and humiliating you for your own good because you've got to go home, even though ostensibly the restrictions are supposed to have been lifted. But that's what their excuses would be. But the optics are terrible. And I don't think they care. Which is worrying when you have an institution who have stopped caring what the public think of them. You're in a bad situation. It's just a case of put up and shut up. That's the definition in my book of totalitarianism. Put up and shut up. It's for your own good. You know, they think they were helping that woman. They think they're helping the cause. They're down for the cause. They're male feminists. That's exactly why they're beating women up. That's what male feminists do. I'll leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I would love to hear your input on this. I know at the beginning of the video I mentioned her name. Her name is Sarah Everard. She was murdered by a serving police officer, probably a colleague of these. This is London after all. This is the exact area that the Vigil has been put up in, the area she went missing. So they're probably colleagues of this guy. Think about that for optics. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, really. If you haven't yet, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell and share this video around. That helps me stay competitive with the bigger channels and could really help this small channel grow in these trying times of censorship and shadow banning. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.